Hey, what's up, BSF, beautiful soul family? Come on in the room. Welcome back. Welcome back. So, if I had to give today's session a topic, it would be following the promptings of the Spirit. And I will link that to the three things that I want to discuss today, which is who I am, what this channel is about, and what is Just So You Know. I am a spirit being following the promptings of the Spirit. And what that looks like for me is a journey. It looks like a journey that I've been on for the last 8 years, a journey to remembering my God self, remembering myself as a spirit being, and divorcing myself from simply being led by the physical world and my physical body and my physical experiences. So when I am in balance with my higher self, with source, with spirit, with God, I am in and on purpose. I am in and on purpose. And that's a lot of work. It's a lot of work because the word I mentioned before was divorcing, letting go of everything that defined me from the outside before I remembered who I am. And because that became my way of operating my reality, it is work to constantly remind myself that that's not who I am anymore. That's not what motivates me anymore. The outside world, the way people see me, or how much money I make, or where I work, or what I drive, or what I wear. Although all of those things are cool in the place, right? But they are not what defines me. So it's work being in that space, free from that mindset. I am a philosopher. I've been a philosopher since I was a child. I was a seeker. I was a questioner. I was a challenger. I challenged everything. Nothing was truth to me unless someone could really get me to understand it, or feel it in my soul. I didn't accept anything on face value. I was critical about everything, and I still am. So I've been a philosopher, and I got in a lot of lightweight trouble about it. Why? Well, why? And my dad was a minister. My family was a church-going Christian family. So, when I would question all the time about God and about life, and I would often get, don't question God, you don't question God, which made no sense to me. Like, why can't I question the all-knowing? Like, y'all sound real crazy right now. And I was a little girl, like, y'all say that God is all-knowing, God is omnipotent, God is omniscient, that's all-knowing, God is omnipresent. So we got this huge, energy, this huge being who knows everything. And I got questions and I can't ask. Something ain't right with that. I wasn't having it. So I questioned everything, even as a child. It also resulted in me hearing a lot of times, because I said so, as the answer to my why. Well, how come? Well, it would be just because I said so. But not always, but most of the time, So yeah, I've always been curious, and I've always been a philosopher. I'm a seeker, I'm a teacher. I do have a PhD in educational leadership, but that doesn't legitimize me in my spirit self. But it was something that I had to do, because I was prompted and following the promptings of the Spirit. Me getting a PhD, me going through that process of disciplining myself, of studying myself, deeply looking at the world around me and asking questions and making sense of it all, was connected to my spiritual journey and my spiritual growth. So I literally wanted to quit when I started this spiritual journey. I wanted to be ABD. I wanted to quit. I didn't care about any of that anymore. But my spirit team pushed me to continue and to finish. And now I understand that it was all about what I was going to learn in the process, right? So it wasn't so much about the product of getting a doctorate degree. It was all about the process of getting there. Man, and what a process that was. I learned so much about myself, who I really am, outside of what I had been taught to believe about myself as I went through the process. Self-study was real. It was hard, but it was worth it. My soul mission is to support others who are members of the soul family as they too go through their journey to remembering who they are, to living out their soul mission, to doing the work of healing holistically, mind, body, spirit. So that is my soul mission. I'm a mother, a grandmother, sister, friend, professor, and those intimate relationships have really been instrumental in my spiritual development, because before I really got connected spiritually, I tended to wear a mask in public places and then come home and take that mask off, right? In intimate relationships, be a little different, be a little less inhibited, a little more real. And it wasn't always pretty. So I feel like my children, the people that I'm close to, have been spiritual partners along the journey, helping me to reflect on that part of me that others might not see, and helping me to then see myself for real and to do the work of being a better person. So I want to thank my children, I want to thank my grandchildren and my family and friends for being instrumental in me transforming my life. You may not even know it, but when I saw sometimes who I was in my most vulnerable state, that is with you all, I didn't always like that, and so the reflection on those behaviors and on that way of living, way of being, had a lot to do with me getting sick and tired of being who I was, the physical being that I was, who had forgotten her spiritual self. And it prompted me to work harder, to connect spiritually and grow spiritually, mentally, physically. So thank you. Thank you. That goes for my students at the university level as well. I grow every semester. I grow every day, period. But I mean, I grow after teaching a course because of the feedback, because of the dialogue, because of the debates, and I welcome all of that, and I say that all the time because it's true. Because those real exchanges are what help us to see who we really are, and what still needs to be healed. Intimate relationships give us an opportunity to see what is still lurking, in the shadows, that needs to come out and needs to be addressed. So yeah, I'm a mother, I'm a grandmother, a sister, a friend, a partner, and a professor. And all of those roles help me to grow. I have 35 years of experience in education, from preschool through the college level, which now I teach at the college level. But for many years, I taught little people. And I believe they kept me alive, basically, kept me in a place of seeing myself, and deeply seeing myself, truly seeing myself. Because children, they see you, they see you, and they let you know that they see you if you're paying attention. And in that, or with that, comes a reflection, a process of reflection that will just keep you growing. So I'm thankful for all of the children who made me pay attention to the things that I said, the things that I did, how I was feeling, and how I was acting. So 35 years in education, and now Spirit moves me to a space of adding to that, this spiritual education. I am in my wisdom years, as you can. I'm in my wisdom years, and it's time to share. It's time to get over myself and all of my inhibitions. Oh, I can't do this. I don't know enough to do that. I can't do that. And it's time for me to just step out here and share what I am prompted to share, following the promptings of the Spirit. So bottom line, I am a lot of things to a lot of people. But to me, mostly, I am a spirit being. I am. It just is that. I am. Connected. Connected to I am. So I am. Following the promptings of the Spirit, I created this YouTube channel, just so you know. Again, because I understand that I am in my wisdom years. I have been on this journey to spiritual awakening for a long time, but I have been remembering that I'm on this journey for the last 8 years, and I've been really dedicated to this connection, to this communion, to this understanding, to getting an understanding and getting on with the work of the soul mission. So it's time to share. So this space is then created to be a space of mutual growth. As I said before, I'm a seeker and a teacher, so I'm growing too. You know, I used to tell my kindergarten students, and I tell my college students now all the time, and I used to tell my children, I don't know everything. I'm learning too. I'm growing too. So here is a space where we grow together. Holistically, mind, body, and spirit, where we heal together. Holistically, mind, body, and spirit. And somebody might say, heal from what? I don't need any healing. Well, that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day. But in brief, I would say we all need healing because we've been conditioned. We've been a part of a world that has conditioned us to be, to think, to know, to believe, to act a certain way all of our lives. And we're still being conditioned if we're not careful, if we're not aware. So we need healing so that we can return to our whole selves, putting the pieces back together, putting the mind, the body, and the spirit back together in wellness. So that is the purpose of this space. Bell Hooks, one of my favorite philosophers, scholars, thinkers, says that it's rare that we heal in isolation and that healing is done in community. And I agree with that. I see it as balance because I know that I've had to do some of my work in isolation. But I also know that I couldn't just do it all in isolation. I had to do it in community, even if that community at the time was just the spirit team, you know, my ancestors, the spirit, my spirit guides, and me, and my higher self. So I would say a balance of healing in isolation with my spirit team, and then healing in community with other spiritual beings that are in physical bodies. This channel will be eclectic in its offerings because I see spirit in everything, and I see spirituality in everything, from music to food to movies, you know, to books and nature. Everywhere I see spirit. So I will share in that way, in an eclectic way. So the channel will be a reflection of my gifts of diversity. You know, I have a lot of different gifts, and so I will bring what I have to this channel. It won't be the same all the time because that's just me. So in following the promptings of the Spirit, I co-created with my spirit team an entity, a living, breathing organism called Just So You Know. It is a business with the purpose of, again, supporting others individually, as a family, and as a community, as they heal and as we grow spiritually, physically, mentally, holistically. Hmm. Creating this business with Spirit was so enlightening, so awakening, so beautiful. It happened as I was preparing to write my dissertation proposal, doing all this research, and as I was awakening to what's really going on in this world and connecting back to myself as a spirit being and connecting to my source, I was given this company. It happened over a period of months. I would just get information and be told to write, and I would just write. I would just write. I would just type. And as the months went on, I started to see it coming together. And I'm like, this is a company. Like, this is the work that I'm supposed to do, right? And I didn't have a name for it. There was no name given. It was just write this. And I was just writing. And so, hi, little bird. And so, and so what I was, these birds have really been visiting me lately and telling me things, and I'm sorry, I'm distracted. Okay, sorry, okay. So, I was given a little bit at a time, day by day, month by month. It would just be, go write this, go write this, go write this, and I would write it down. And after a while, it started to take shape. I could see that it was a blueprint, for my soul mission work, for my work. So what I was given first was the basis, the foundation. What later I saw as the roots of the company. And it was simply love. It was simply love. I drew it out in a heart. I just knew that love was the root. And of course, we know love is source, love is God, love is spirit, right? So it was like, that was the beginning. That's where everything was to start. Everything was to start with love, self-love, and then love of others. And it was like, I kept hearing, know, love, and be true to yourself. And when you can do that, you can know, love, and be true to others. I kept hearing it. I had it on my mirrors. It was just all over the place. I just was writing this whole thing about love, love, love. And I was reading, like I said, in preparation for my dissertation proposal, I was reading many books, many authors, scholars One was Bell Hooks. And as I was reading her book, All About Love, which I have right here, as I was reading this book, All About Love, I came across a definition of love because, you know, you have to define. And that was one of the things I was learning too with this business was everything needed to be redefined. Everything that I knew, everything that I believed had to be critically analyzed and redefined. So love was one of them. So in this book, I read the definition of love. Bell Hooks says that she gets this definition from Scott Peck, who is a psychiatrist, and that he got the definition from the work of Erich Fromm, who is a psychologist and philosopher, psychiatrist, all of that. So the definition of love, according to these scholars, is the will to extend oneself for the purpose of nurturing one's own or another's spiritual growth. I was like, that's it. That is it. That is love. It's an action. It's about growth, spiritual growth. I extend that definition to say love is the will to extend oneself for the purpose of one's own or another's spiritual, mental, physical growth, right? So that's my definition of love. So if I ever say I love you, that's what I mean. I'm willing to push myself. I'm willing to do more. I'm willing to share. I'm willing to be vulnerable. I'm willing to go the extra mile for my own and for the soul family's spiritual, physical, mental growth, mind, body, and spirit. When I say I love you, that's what I mean. And on this definition of love, it was everything but, and it is everything but what we've been conditioned to see, what I have been conditioned to see as love. This mushy, go along to get along, sweet, syrupy, fun, romanticized love. It was not that. It was a truth-telling love, telling myself the truth and being willing to stand on truth, regardless to who, stand on my truth, regardless to who agreed. It was a revolutionary love. It was a love that was supposed to bring about change, not some love that just, like I said, goes along with everything just to make people comfortable, or it wasn't a love where everything was comfortable. It wasn't a love where I was comfortable. This love I had to give myself was very uncomfortable because I had to challenge everything about me. I had to challenge my victimhood. I had to take responsibility for the things that I had gone through and accepted and allowed myself to experience in the way that I did. I had to take responsibility for allowing things to affect me the way that they did. And it was painful because it's painful when you can't just blame everybody else for everything. It's painful when you have to own up to your mess. So it wasn't a sweet love. It wasn't that. Not in the way that we are conditioned to believe sweet. It was sweet in that it was making me grow. It was sweet in that it was pushing all my buttons so that I would be agitated enough to change and to grow and to seek, a different way. Yeah, it was not fun. And it was not cute. And it was not comfortable. It was challenging. Revolutionary, evolutionary, you know? So that's what that love is like. And that's what that love will be like here. It's just no time. It's just no time for the coddling, you know, for the comfort. We have to get uncomfortable. We have to see the truth about ourselves and our world and our experiences to begin to change. No ifs, ands, or buts. So that is the root of this entity. And that was the first part that was given to me as I was following the promptings of the Spirit and just writing down whatever I heard. So as I began to try to, come up with a visual for this company, because I'm a kind of a visual person. I need to see things. I saw a tree. I saw it as a tree. So the roots of this company are love, and they are down into the soil being the spirit, right? The soil being the spirit, the nurturing, the sustenance, that which grounds the tree, So the soil is the spirit, the roots are love, and from the roots come the trunk, right? But I see this trunk, those trees that have like the trunk that's kind of has multiple pieces to it. Like my favorite tree, the weeping willow tree. I saw the tree like a weeping willow tree. I love that tree. I just love it. The energy of it, the bowing down of the leaves, but yet this wide, expansive opening, and the bowing down just to the, to the source, to itself, coming into itself. It's not all out like that. It's coming in, kind of inward. I think that's why I love that tree. Yet it's big and expansive. Anyway, so I see those I saw four parts of the trunk, four divisions of the trunk of this tree that is rooted in love and planted in the soil of spirit. And what I was given was each of those parts of the trunk represented four different offshoots of love. So one was questioning, then was knowing, then was powering, and then was action, right? So questioning, that ability to go in and ask, that ability to wonder, to see the world critically, not just seeing it for what is in front of you, but a different, an awareness, like reading between the lines, seeing from your spiritual eye what's really going on. I got dissatisfied with everything that is supposed to be important in this world. It no longer was important to me, and I began to question, who am I and why am I here? What am I supposed to be doing, and Why am I so dissatisfied with my life as it is? Why, I began to be frustrated with the drama and the trauma, and tired of being a victim, and just wanted, I wanted a new life. I wanted my life to change. I was over it, right? So that all started with the questioning. And then you have this knowing, and knowing comes from information. It comes from going in to your God self, to your higher self, to your spirit, and getting the information about those questions, getting the answers to those questions. I really have experienced that when I have questions of the universe, when I have questions of God, of spirit, I ask and I get the information. I get it. Because I see my creator as one that wants me to know. Want me out here on some lack of knowledge type stuff. She want to know. We tell her. That's how I always was with kids. They ask me a question, I'm going to help them figure it out. Look, and I would always say to them, the smart person that was my word, smart, is not the person who knows everything. Because who is that? The smart person is the person who knows where to go to get information. And the whole time I was speaking to myself, get information, get in alignment, go in and get this knowing. So that's the source that I work with. Knowing is a thing. We do knowing here. And from there, I felt empowered. I felt power. Power coming from inside of me. No longer was the power in my title. No longer was the power in how much money I made. No longer was the power in whether or not somebody picked me to be their wife. No more was the power related to my car that I drove, or the clothes that I wore, or my reputation, you know what I'm saying? How people saw me, or any of that. My power became internal. It became something that resulted from my connection with the Creator. My connection with the Source became my power. It became my power. My questions were answered there. My knowledge, my knowing came from there, and my power is coming from there, which I'm pointing to there as here, internal, here, internal, that connection with the God self. So it was questioning, it was knowing, and then it was powering, because when I'm connected to the source, just like I charge my battery, my phone is no good if it's not charged. My car is no good if the battery's not charged. I am no good if I'm not connected and powered by my source. So powering, from my knowing comes a powering. I know where to go to get powered, to get empowered, right? So the powering comes with the knowing. Knowing and information is nothing without action. If you just have a bunch of information, you just have a bunch of information. But if you do something with that information, now there's transformation, change, growth, empowering others, or supporting others as they are empowered, as they be empowered, helping them to connect to their inner battery, inner source. So the knowing and the power led to action to transform my life, action that would become my purpose. Me living my purpose is the action, living my soul mission. So those are the trunk parts, divisions of the tree that I was given and told to write as I was following the promptings of the Spirit. So when the tree is planted in good soil, the roots are healthy. When the roots are healthy, everything that branches off of the roots above ground is healthy. The trunks, the branches, the leaves, the fruits, everything, the seeds that come from this fruit, you get it? So what I got was healthy family, healthy tree, healthy fruit, healthy seed, the individual, the family, the community, the seed, the babies, the seed. So following the promptings of the Spirit, I now had the inner workings, the foundation of this company, of this soul mission work. I had no idea what the name of it was. That hadn't been revealed to me. And I figured it would come just like the rest of it came. So I just waited. And one day, I was cleaning the bathroom and I had my headset on. I was playing music, but I was in this meditative state. And as I was playing this music, I was given a message from the music. So I went to write it down. And when I returned, when I turned to go back to the bathroom, on the vanity next to my bathroom, on the vanity counter by the sink, there was a hair. And I noticed the hair. My attention was drawn to the hair. And I heard, take a picture of the hair. And I was like, nah, that's not spirit. That's just some more crazy stuff. And I'm not doing that. Like, why would I do that? So I continued on cleaning, cleaned the rest of the house, went on about my day, woke up the next morning, and I'm going to the bathroom, and my attention is drawn to that same hair, a coil of my hair, not a lock, not even a bud of this, a lock. It was just a hair. And my attention was drawn back to that coil again, and I heard, take a picture of the hair. This time I said, okay, that's twice. I'm gonna take a picture of the hair. Took a picture of the hair, and now I'm gonna show you a picture of the hair. Okay. So I was like, this is crazy, like unbelievable. And I knew that it had to do with this purpose that I was birthing, this work that I was supposed to be, putting my energy into. So I wrote the word SUNO, or MO, because I wasn't really sure which one it was at the time. I wrote it down, and I began, meditating on what does it mean? How do you even say it? I called my youngest son, who had just moved to New York at the time, and I asked him if he would, just look up those letters, those 4 letters for me, SUMO, SUNO, in Ohio, in the state of Ohio, as far as businesses, to see if anybody else had a business by that name. I asked him to do it because I needed his help. I was really busy at the time, working a full-time job, writing my proposal, like I said, birthing this company, and I needed some help, so I asked for it. He was glad to do it for me. So he looked it up. He sent me a screenshot of all the businesses with, those letters in their name, but none of them had the mission that I had been given for this particular company, this business, unnamed business. So I figured, okay, so this is the name of the business. Now, how do you say it and what does it mean? So I decided, well, if it just showed up as a piece of hair, I'm sure that the rest of the information will show up as well. So I waited, I just waited patiently for the revelation, for the understanding. Take a picture of that hair. Okay. That was seriously trusting the promptings of the Spirit. I felt like a goof. I felt like a serious, like, what is happening to me? Am I losing my freaking mind? Like, I just heard, take a picture of the hair. I didn't hear that, did I? I'm gonna ignore that. I'm just gonna ignore that. And then the next day, the hair is still there. A hair, still there, with all the walking by, all the traffic, a hair, still there. And then I hear again, take a picture of the hair. And this time I'm like, trusting it, taking a picture. And here you go, right? Wild. So I'm like, now I have a name, but I don't know how to say it. And I don't really know what it means. Like, what's SUMO or SUNO? What does it mean? How do you say it? And then it came in the most, I don't know, unimaginable way to me. I never would have thought that I would get the meaning by reading a book by Patricia Hill Collins called Black Feminist Thought. You couldn't have told me I would have gotten the answer from reading that book. That was totally unexpected, but it happened. As I was reading, I would stop and take breaks, and sometimes during those breaks, I would just, doodle, trying to figure out what the acronym SUNO, or what it could mean. Could it be an acronym? So nothing sounded right, supporting, understanding. I don't even know. I don't even know what the rest of it was that I kept coming up with, but I had all of these different scenarios on the page. So this one particular day, I'm reading, and the word securing shows up on the page and basically calls itself to my attention. It just nearly lifts up off the page, like, see me, right? So I'm like, okay, securing. So I write the word down. And I keep reading, and a few pages later, I see the word uplifting. I'm like, wow, okay. And it does the same thing. It draws attention to itself, so I write it down. And then I turn a few more pages, or a page, I don't know, read further, and I see naming ourselves. And I write that down, and I'm like, SUNO. Securing, uplifting, naming ourselves. And I just lost it. I began, clapping my hands, and got up from the desk and running around the table and being all dramatic and excited and feeling so grateful, so connected, so in alignment, with my spirit team. And I knew that was it. I knew that was it. That's what the name meant. I still didn't know how to say it though. So days later, it was called to my attention. Every time I would hear this particular phrase, it would just linger in my, in my spirit, in my mind, in my ear. So it was, I'd be watching something, say it was Super Soul Sunday, and Oprah would say, "And just so you know," and I was like, "Just so you know." And then I might be talking to someone on the phone, and they say, "And just so you know," I was like, "Just so you know." Nobody was saying "just so you know," right? It was always "just so you know," and I was like, "So you know, so you know, so you know." And it happened like 3 or 4 times, and I would just hear "just so you know," and I was like, "That's it. That's what it is. That's how you say it. Just so you know, just so you know." And that's how the company was conceived, birthed, named. Just so you know. Securing, uplifting, naming ourselves. That's the work of just so you know. Securing indicates that there is some insecurity, some for something to need securing, it means it's unstable or it's not secure. And we'll talk about that deeper, but how are we not secure? We're not secure if we rely on this physical world for our security. If that security is not from the internal self, from spirit, then there is no security. But in spirit, in our spiritual journey, in our spiritual lives, we can secure ourselves. Then we can uplift ourselves. Why do we need that? Seriously? Why do we need uplifting? Because we live in a world that is constantly bombarding us with messages of not enough, if for no other reason but to sell us something. If for no other reason but to keep us in a low state of vibration, of fear, of insecurity, of jealousy, of envy, of anger, of blame and shame, and all of those low vibrational behaviors and ways of living. Because that feeds the system. Because if we're down, then we're always looking for ways to get up, and we have to purchase all that, right? Continuously, because there's never enough. Never enough. Oh, I've experienced that myself. And then there's naming ourselves. And why is that important, that we name ourselves? Because as Audre Lorde says, if we don't define ourselves for ourselves, and I'm paraphrasing, if we don't define ourselves for ourselves, someone else will gladly do that for us. But it won't be to our benefit. It will be to their benefit and to our demise. So it is important that I define who I am, that you define who you are for yourself, for myself. We do that. So securing, uplifting, naming ourselves. That's the work of just so you know. So it took me months to get that information downloaded into from spirit into me, and then uploaded from me into my documents, And the whole time I was also uploading it into my life, I had to understand who it was and I had to be, just so you know. I was living the question. I was living in the knowing. I was seeking information. I was being powered by constantly being connected to the source in meditation and in all forms of meditation and communication, communion, and then acting on what I was learning, acting on what I was knowing from there. So it also became, this just came to me the other day, it also became the blueprint. This information that I was getting about this company was also the blueprint to my own spiritual journey. I was living it. I was living this company as I was birthing it. I was living it. And I shared this idea with a friend that I had just met, with a soul sister that I had just met. I shared this idea with her, and eventually she would become my business slash spiritual life coach, who was helping me to embody this company once I knew once I had the pieces, all put together. But as far as embodying it, knowing it so well, because it is a part of me, a lot of that work was done with a friend of mine by the name of Tanya Burrow Torres, of So Hum, So Humanity. That's her company. And Tanya helped me to see myself as, just so you know, she helped me to be so natural with it that it is me, embodying it. I didn't even know what that meant at the time, embodiment. She's from the theater and dance world, so when she used the term embodying it, I was like, okay, yeah, let's do that work. But I really wasn't familiar with that particular term of embodying something, basically meaning living it, becoming it, having it to become a part of you. So yeah, that is the story of, just so you know, that is the story of how it came about. That is who I am. That is what I'm doing. It is a part of my soul mission to support others on their journey to spiritual awakening, spiritual growth and development. And I'm excited to be a spiritual doula, a wise alchemist, a guide, and a light. And it's time for me to let that light shine. As King Simon said in my numerology reading, these are the wisdom years, and it's time to share. It's time to share. And that is what this space is, a place to share and a place to grow spiritually. So. And so here we are. Just so you know, a company designed to support the soul family, including me, on our journey to holistic growth, mind, body, and spirit, through love, in order that we might live out our soul purpose, our soul mission. Our journey involves questioning, knowing, powering, and acting. And when we employ those tools, when we use those processes, we can do the work of just securing, uplifting, and naming ourselves. You have a work to do. We all have a spiritual purpose, a soul mission, soul family. Here's a space I'm offering for us to do that work together. In this room, in other rooms, as the work morphs. Maybe I'll see you in other rooms. But for now, definitely in this space, I'm here. And if you feel prompted by your spirit, by the Spirit, to be in this space, then by all means, come on in. You ready? All right, let's go. Love you. Peace.